May I come in?
आइए, बैठिए।
Good afternoon.
Good
afternoon, sirs. Thank you.
बैठिए बैठिए।
Thank
Please
you.
sit. So Jitendra, where are you coming from?
Ma'am, I am from Jhunjhunu, Rajasthan.
झुंझुनू।
Yes.
आज कहाँ से आए?
From Patel Nagar में.
मैं यहीं रह रहे हैं।
हाँ जी.
कितने दिन से रह रहे हैं?
Ma'am, I staying here from last 15 days.
20 days. So
Yes.
that's okay. So what do you do about your food and how do you manage?
Ma'am, I am living in a hostel.
Okay.
So the food,
Take it.
food facility is available there.
Okay, then it's not so bad. Otherwise you have to sit and cook.
Yeah.
अगर आप विदेश में होते हैं ना, आपको ब्रेकफास्ट भी बनाना पड़ता, क्योंकि वहाँ कोई देता वेता कुछ नहीं है ना।
Yes.
Anyway, that's not relevant, but just a offside comment. So, what do you want me to ask? On what subject? On what you want to say?
Ma'am, you can ask me on anything. I mean,
Anything?
Yes.
Anything. Okay. Tell me, there's a discussion on the education policy of Government of India,
Yes.
right? So, they called it the new education policy.
Yes.
Do you remember? Which year did they announce it?
They announced it in 2020, ma'am.
2020.
Yes.
Okay. What was the change in the policy?
Ma'am, the change is that instead of just being marks focused, now the education will be more holistic.
Yeah.
It will include the pre-primary level as well, and then sports will be made integral part of school education, and vocational education will be introduced from 6th standard onwards.
So, do you think it succeeded, the vocational education theory, that from 9th class onward you do vocation?
Yes.
Everyone does it. So, do you think it helps them get a better job or something like that?
I think that practical training always helps in getting job, whether it is provided after schooling or it is provided along with schooling. So that adds an additional skill to the person. Yes.
I've seen very small children, very about 11 years, 10 years, they're working on the roadside, right? They
Yes.
do some motor binding or they do some cooker repair, whatever.
Yes.
They don't do any skill, like they just learn it and they do it.
Yes.
So they can be promoted, those boys and girls,
Absolutely.
right? They can be put into an ITI or wherever, they can learn better on their own skill.
Yes, ma'am.
So that should be promoted, I feel personally.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
don't have so many jobs. Everyone on the country won't get a job.
But ma'am, that is our prime responsibility to create
Yeah.
jobs for
Correct.
everyone.
Yeah. So we have to train these little kids, and they should go into skill management, skill development, and skill whatever. There's a ministry also about skill development
Yes, ma'am.
and all that. Yeah. So you've done accountancy and taxation, audit, cost accounting,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes.
So what is social audit?
Ma'am, social audit is an audit done with the objective of ascertaining whether the beneficiaries have been given benefits as intended by scheme or policy.
So sometimes, you know, the government launches a scheme and you are assessing as an auditor, social audit, and then you feel there's some lacuna, some shortfall, then would you like to advise the government on the changing of that scheme?
Absolutely, ma'am.
You would.
Yes, ma'am.
Or you will be very frightened that I am a district magistrate, I should keep quiet.
No, ma'am.
You
Absolutely.
won't do that. You will give some suggestions. Now tell me, like India has a certain position in geography,
Yes, ma'am.
geographical situation, what do you call it, a geopolitical situation. So now, has India done well as a neighbor and as an international policy maker?
Absolutely, ma'am. If we see, India is currently helping Sri Lanka, which is in severe economic crisis. Then India is also helping Nepal, and we are having good relation with Bangladesh.
How about Myanmar?
In Myanmar, there is deterioration in the democracy, but still we are talking to the military personnel there to restore the democratic credentials of the
We
country.
help out. So we are like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
Yes.
Everyone is my family and I will try and help.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
it possible to help?
It is certainly possible, ma'am, because in current geopolitical order, we have to uphold values, because without values, we won't have any type of international order.
Okay. Right, sir.
So, Jitendra, you have worked with Flipkart also.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So, in this era of e-commerce, so how do we protect interest of small traders, especially in brick and mortar model?
Sir, for protecting interest of brick and mortar shopkeepers, we have to equip them with sufficient credit, so they can, and we have to connect them to supply chains, and we have to develop marketing avenues for that. Government is also taking a step in that direction in form of ONDC, Open Network Digital Commerce, so that will also help them.
Okay. As an SDM of your district or district of your choice,
Yes, sir.
how would you bring Atmanirbharta at grassroots levels?
Sir, for bringing Atmanirbharta at grassroots level, we have to identify the potential that the district holds. So suppose some district is good in handicrafts, so we have to promote the handicraft sector, and that is how, I mean, we can achieve Atmanirbharta, and we can promote productivity in farming, because India is still agrarian economy.
And why you wish to become a civil servant?
Sir, being civil servant has been a dream for me since I was in 10th class. So I went to receive an award from district collector, who told me that you should try to become civil servant, and I had this dream, but my financial condition did not allow me to pursue it right after 12th, so I decided to do chartered accountancy, which also pays enough amount, and I accumulated some amount so that I can pursue civil services after that.
Okay, so talking about international relations, India has shifted from look east policy towards act east policy.
Yes, sir.
So why so?
Sir, this is because if we see the western part of Asia, then there are turbulences like Pakistan, which is not letting us explore the opportunities that are there in the west. For example, Tapi pipeline, we are not able to operationalize that. So, to increase economic cooperation in the eastern part, we have shifted from look east to act east, and that would be beneficial for northeastern India as well.
Has relationship between India and Nepal became hijacked by China's influence?
To a certain extent, yes, sir. Earlier there was communist government in Nepal, and China had very much influence on that. But right now there is another government in power in Nepal, so our relationships are getting better. Recently, Prime Minister of Nepal also visited India.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you fall in the which region of Rajasthan?
Sir, it is under Shekhawati region.
Shekhawati. Now tell me, in your opinion, what is the reason why so many big businessmen in India, they have their background in Shekhawati region of Rajasthan rather than other regions of Rajasthan, if I am correct,
Yes, sir.
like Marwar or Mewar.
Yes, sir.
So we see so many business families who are business leaders. What is the reason?
Sir, I would say the geographical location of the region is very important, because there is very harsh environment. Like there is the temperature goes up to 50 degrees Celsius in summer, and it reaches up to 0 degrees Celsius in winter. So that has prepared the people well for taking challenges. Then this region was part of the earlier Silk Route.
But you are right. But
And-
the situation with regard to climatic condition is harsher even in western part of Rajasthan. That is Jaisalmer, Barmer,
Yes.
Jodhpur.
That business people have emerged from those areas as well. So, and then the Rajput kings, they promoted trade very much. That is the reason there are so many Havelis, etc. in Rajasthan.
Right. Now, literacy rate among women in Rajasthan is very, very low, perhaps lowest in the country. What could, in your opinion, be the reason for that, and how, as district collector, you will take 2 short-term measures to improve that condition?
Sir, in my assessment, the reason is so there is water scarcity in Rajasthan, and the girl child is kept at home to bring water from far away regions, so that harms her educational prospectus. And then there is a patriarchy which doesn't allow them to go to schools.
Good.
So-
Tell me two steps would you take as a district magistrate?
Sir, I would like to mention one scheme that Rajasthan government runs, which is Rashri Yojana. So there is 50,000 rupees are provided to parents of girl when she passes 5th standard, 8th standard, 10th standard and 12th standard, and thereafter scooty is also provided to girls so that they can reach to colleges which
That
are
means
in
the
town
Beti
area.
Bachao Beti Padhao Abhiyan is doing well.
Yes, sir, it is doing well, and recently the literacy rate in NFHS 5 has also improved very much. It is now 74% among
Okay.
women.
What is the current size of Indian economy in terms of US dollars?
Sir, it is near about USD 3 billion trillion.
3
3
trillion.
trillion.
So now the government of India had targeted that we should become a 5 trillion economy by 24-25.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't appear to be very much possible. So what is the time frame you foresee, and can we really achieve that within that period?
Sir, I would say that there have been tailwinds like COVID, and then there has been this geopolitical disruption, but we can very much still achieve the target within the given time frame if we implement the production linked incentive scheme on properly, and we actually invest in the infrastructure through capex.
Now, with India's growing global stature, do you think India can play a role of a mediator in Russia-Ukraine war? What are the factors and circumstances which favor India for that role?
Sir, India has always taken a stand based on values. So that is the primary reason that everybody is ready to listen to India. Even the Ukrainian president also talked to our prime minister to seek help in stopping the war, and then our prime minister has also talked to Russian president, and recently Russian foreign minister has also said that nobody will object if India is doing mediation.
My last question is with regard to your hobby,
Yes.
Vipassana.
Yes, sir.
So normally when we take up this Vipassana course, it is for 10 days.
Yes, sir.
So you have to take 10 days off
Yes, sir.
and on,
Yes.
maybe once in a year, twice in a year.
Yes, sir.
So as district civil servant, would you be able to afford this much of time for off from your duty and go for Vipassana, course, whatever?
Yes, sir. So, sir, I believe that taking 10 days off, if increases my efficiency very much, then I think that is a good investment to do.
Thank you.
So Jitendra, you are from Rajasthan.
Yes, sir.
Now Rajasthan has recently come out with, a policy that the old pension scheme will be brought back, replacing the NPS or whatever policy.
Yes, sir.
There are, in some quarters, it has been mentioned that this can be disastrous for the state because of
Finances, state finances.
because of the state finances.
Yes.
What are your views? And should India at the national level also follow the same pattern, because there is pressure on the union government also?
Sir, I would like to quote a fact that when we introduced NPS, then our unaccounted liability with regard to pension were approximately 65% of our GDP. So, I mean that is a huge figure, and we did not basically make provision for it in any of the budgets. and that was the primary reason we introduced NPS, because NPS is a contributory scheme, employee also contributes and state government also contributes. So I think it is a very prudent financial practice, because then the corpus can be managed and higher returns can be earned on NPS corpus. But with regard to old pension scheme, the state, the employee will not contribute and state will not make any provision for it in budget. So it will be a huge burden in future. Basically it will be that future generation will be paying for the current generation. So that is not the prudent financial practice, I feel.
Jitendra, I saw your DAF. You worked in Dunzo, you worked in Flipkart.
Yes.
Tell me this: what are the factors for e-commerce to prosper so much, not just in India, all over the world? And from consumer point of view, what are the for and what are against?
Yes.
Features of e-commerce.
Yes, sir.
From consumer point of view. Have you understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the primary reason for proliferation of e-commerce into the society is the reach of internet as well as the penetration of smartphones. And if we talk about consumers, what they gain from e-commerce, so they gain transparency. They can compare the prices real time, and they even have the option to order goods and services, and if they don't like, they can return the goods and services. So I feel these are the differentiating factors which make e-commerce very popular. Then if we talk about the negative side for consumer, then there are chances that e-commerce companies are currently pricing the products very lower, and if they gain monopoly by eliminating the brick and mortar retail, they can exploit the consumers in future. As of now, there is no negative side for customer, but in future, if they monopolize this sector, then there is a huge negative side.
So Jitendra, tell me what reforms have been done by the government in the area of corporate governance?
Yes, sir. So in corporate governance, sir, we have introduced NFRA, that is National Financial Regulatory Authority, and we have also mandated that at least 50% of the directors should be independent. Then there is a provision that the selection of independent directors should be by the majority of shareholders, so that promoters only do not have any say in appointing independent directors. And recently there was an amendment in ICI bill, in ICI Act, which has reconstituted the disciplinary committee. So that would also make sure that auditors are very much independent, and they also flag any risk that are there in the financial statements. Apart from that, sir, there is a provision that auditor has to compulsorily report frauds to central government, and if he doesn't do so, then he is liable for penal action.
Now, last question. South China Sea is now called as Indo-Pacific Zone.
Yes.
Why this shift in the name?
Sir, this the shift in the name reflects the importance of Indian Ocean and the position India holds in the Indo-Pacific region.
So you said Indian Ocean.
Yes, sir. Because now they are considering the Indian Ocean as well as the South China Sea and Pacific part of it as an integral part, because most of the world trade
who
passes.
is thinking? You think it has been imposed by US for its own interest to to trigger India to get into the South China Sea, the issues and problems?
No, sir. I feel US interest is definitely there, but then India also has interest in upholding the international order and free trade, and India still maintains strategic autonomy, which can be seen in the formation of AUKUS as well.
Kobo?
AUKUS.
How do you say that?
Because, sir, India is not in favor of militarizing this region. That is why, because India wants to uphold the free and international rule based order, so we have basically not gone in favor of militarization of this
But
region.
is it Quad seen as a Asian NATO by China at least and Russia also?
Yes, sir. They have made the statement that they see as Asian NATO, but whatever actions India has taken, it doesn't appear that it is Asian NATO.
What is ONDC?
Sir, ONDC is Open Network Digital Commerce.
Right. So what's it?
Sir, it is basically a UPI like innovation in the e-commerce sector, which will ensure that the current major players like Flipkart and e-commerce are not able to monopolize the e-commerce sector.
All right. How would it work?
Sir, it will work by enlisting both suppliers as well as consumers. It will provide opportunity to every trader to sell their goods through this medium.
Would this be a new platform
Yes,
apart
sir.
from Flipkart and Amazon?
Yes, sir.
Is this going to provide a new platform?
Yes,
So
sir.
then that becomes a monopoly. Then the new platform can also become a monopoly.
But sir, the new platform is like NPCI, which has investment from multiple banks, and there have been news recently that multiple banks are investing in ONDC. So, and then government will have supervisory powers over it. So, I think it will be in the interest of consumers as well as traders.
Now, what is CBDC?
So, CBDC is central bank digital currency.
All right.
That is
Has any country in the world so far come out with a CBDC?
yes, sir. China has already launched pilot projects, and RBI is also considering launch of CBDC.
Is there any country which has adopted a cryptocurrency on national level?
Sir, if I remember correctly, El Salvador has adopted the
Now,
cryptocurrency.
what about India? Why should India go for CBDC?
Sir, India should go for CBDC because it improves, it first of all reduces the cost of printing, then it improves the distributional efficiency, which is not there in cash distribution because we have to move large amounts of cash from one place to another place, which has risk also. And apart from that, sir, it will boost the digital payment sector, for which we are very much promoting digital payments.
How is CBDC likely to affect the commercial banks?
Sir, there are concerns that once CBDC is launched, it will be owned and managed by RBI. So the deposits that are currently going there in the banks, that may come down, and then they will have less amount to lend to the corporates.
Will RBI be paying an interest on the deposits held with RBI, CBDC deposits?
Sir, yesterday there was statement from RBI Deputy Governor. He said that there won't be any interest on CBDC.
Thank you. Thanks.